And we're live.
Hello, SHL. It's Adam and Rich, number 27.
Number 27.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, we got another team, another expansion team.
We have another one. Both are in now.
So that's pretty cool.
We'll talk about that a little later, I
Yeah,
think.
for
But
sure.
that's exciting. Congrats to Joe K on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Do you want
congrats to
to?
Phelps too.
Do we
But
have questions on that? Actually, I didn't look.
Argar definitely asked about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
talk about the
'Cause
branding. Okay.
if not, I was gonna suggest we talk about that first. But okay, we
Yeah, it's
will.
in there.
Is there anything else we should do before we hit questions? You think?
I know nobody, I think, jokingly wanted me to talk about the big, really dumb thing that happened in juniors media today. That big 10-team trade proposal.
Oh yeah. 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 I don't know. So
I haven't read it and I don't want to read it. All I know is that it's just a doozy.
I didn't. I knew. I guess I knew there was a media piece connected to it, but I didn't actually read any of it. I just heard.
Yeah.
Where was I? Was in some Discord where they posted it, but I guess when it was originally posted, it wasn't broken down with like what was actually happening in terms of picks in a way that was readable.
Oh,
But I don't know, whatever Discord I saw it in basically just said explained what it was, which was nothing. So
either way, shout out to Stadium Gambler for whatever the fuck that was. I haven't read it yet. I don't know, man. I know it's supposed to be a joke, but that's a lot of effort to put into a joke on this website. So big ups to you for wasting your own time, I guess. I'm mad today, man. It's gonna be an angry Adam this today.
That's okay. I guess there's not a whole lot else to say about it. It's just silly nonsense. I did like some people getting bent out of shape about it, though. You know, apparently,
Yes.
what seemed to be like actually bent out of shape about it, which is kind of funny. But whatever.
So with that said, should we just hop right into questions or?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So first set of questions come from Bonk.
Yeah,
Bonk says, long time no questions. Sorry about that. I can be a bit of a flake. Hey, it's okay.
I'm there with you.
Yeah, I don't think I've posted a question for Big Slappy in weeks.
Yeah, I'm really bad about it. I don't know. I can't ever think of a question that I want actually like legitimately want to hear them discuss that they haven't already discussed.
And I don't want to give them busy work.
Yeah. And the things that I want to, I don't know, the questions that I want to ask are things that like are kind of repeatable. Like the one I asked Argar this week was about fixing the builds, balancing them so they're kind of more competitive, build to build. But then I'm sure I've asked that of actually I know I asked that of Slappy and Bonk. I don't know, 10 episodes or so ago.
And it's a good question, but
yeah, there's no real answer. I just like to. I'm interested if somebody has some idea, just because.
Anyway. Yeah, no, definitely.
Maybe somebody's got something hidden up their sleeves that I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, it's always worth asking. Bonk asks, if you could meet one person, dead or alive, who would you want to meet?
It's a tough question.
It's a tough question. I was not prepared for it.
Yeah, I was a little prepared. And if I was more prepared, I might have been able to come up with a more interesting answer. But I think my answer is going to be kind of boring, unfortunately. For me, it's going to be my grandfather on my father's side. He passed away when my dad was quite young, so I never got to meet him. And my dad always spoke of him in like really high regard. So I would have really liked to have meet him. Like to have met him. So
I don't think that's a boring answer. I think that's a good answer.
I don't know, but it's not. I don't know. It's not. It doesn't. I don't know.
It's not like a celebrity.
If you've got somebody, I don't know. I feel like the reasoning is kind of just like it's kind of sentimental and it doesn't mean a lot to other people. But
yeah, but you know what, it means a lot to you, and that's kind of the point of the question.
I suppose. Yeah.
It's all about the personal value, and I think that's a good pick. I'm not even remotely prepared for this question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in that short amount of time, did you come up with anything?
Yeah. I guess my first and second picks I've already met. Like if I was to just think of it off the top of my head, I've already met Chris and Tim Collis, who play drums and guitar in TTNG respectively. They're one of my favorite bands of all time, and Tim is one of my biggest inspirations as a guitarist. But I've already met the two of them. I met them at a show a few months ago. So I guess Devin Usil of Delta Sleep, I guess.
Hmm.
Another like good guitarist vocalist that I kind of look up to. I guess that yeah. I mean, Tim would be my number one, but I already met him, so now I really don't know how to answer this question.
Nice.
Maybe Hank from TTNG too. Just meet the whole band just to top it off. I don't know. That's a good question though. I just wish I was a little more prepared for it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was looking back at the question and I saw Alive there, but for whatever reason, I just completely discounted it. Like I immediately thought I'd started thinking of dead people. I didn't even, yeah. I don't think it would change anything, but
Yeah,
I just thought it was funny. I definitely read the word alive, but didn't even think about it.
yeah. I mean, it's fair. For me, I can't really think of anybody dead that I'd want to meet. And I know, like, I talk about playing guitar, so it's kind of a sin to not say like Hendrix or
I
any
mean,
of the classics, but they don't inspire me.
yeah, exactly. It wouldn't matter. So
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
it's a good question, Bonk. Sorry, I wasn't more prepared for it.
So yeah, next question. He says, tell us about the last sandwich each of you have eaten.
I like the phrasing. The phrasing, not don't tell us what the last sandwich you ate was. Tell us about it. I really like the phrase on that. Last sandwich I ate, I think, was a Reuben.
Hmm?
And it was great. I mean, like one of the hardest things about getting a Reuben at a restaurant is that the balance isn't always great, because I mean it's the kind of sandwich you really got to have a decent balance between the corned beef and the sauerkraut and the cheese and the dressing. I mean, it's got to be like really good balance, but sometimes you'll run into a place that puts like way too much sauerkraut on it, or maybe doesn't put enough cheese, or doesn't put enough corned beef, or maybe puts too much corned beef. But this was the first time in a long time I've had a Reuben that was actually really well balanced all the way around, and served on a really nice rye. It was just a great sandwich. Like, I wish I remembered where I got it, but I just remembered the sandwich.
Well, that's nice. It's a little bit more interesting than mine's going to be, because mine's I don't really eat sandwiches like ever really, so mine's going to be a mushroom and Swiss burger from Culver's, I guess, is the last sandwich I ate. That was like 2 weeks ago too, I think. Yeah, about that.
Sounds good though.
Week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah, it's not bad. It's like, I don't know. It's if you had Culver's before?
No, but I've had a Portobello Swiss.
Yeah. They
Did you say Portobello Swiss or mushroom Swiss?
I mean, they call it a mushroom Swiss. I don't think it was portobellos on it though. I don't think so.
I think I just filled that word in myself because now I'm just thinking about portobello mushrooms and.
Yeah, that's fine. They do like what they call a butter burger, which I guess they basically just like cook the burger and with butter.
That's got to be just fucking terrible for your arteries.
Or what?
That's
it's not. I don't know that it necessarily makes that big of a difference either. I'm not like wowed by it. I don't know. It's all right.
Does it not change the flavor much at all?
Not really. In fact, I feel like to like emphasize this fact, they seem to like make them really greasy too. Like there's like a lot of this stuff dripping off it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fine. It's nothing spectacular, but it's decent. Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Sandwiches.
I mean, that brings up an interesting question. Is a burger a sandwich?
I mean, it's not a tradition. It's not like when I would think of a sandwich, that's not the first thing I would go to, but I think it's pretty clearly a sandwich, right?
I should have made this week's key visual that fucking sandwich alignment chart. Burger's a sandwich. Burger's a sandwich.
I
Hot
think
dog's a
so.
sandwich.
It's not a controversial one like hot dog or
Hot dog is a sandwich.
yeah.
I think we've had that conversation before. I think we've
Yeah.
had that question come up before.
That was like probably one of the first episodes. I'm
It was
pretty sure.
really early.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a sandwich for
Yeah.
reference.
Is it? I don't know. I'm not on that wagon at
It's
all.
meat. It's a piece of meat between two pieces of bread. You know.
Yeah, but I stand behind the idea that if somebody asked me if I wanted a sandwich and I said yes and they brought me a hot dog, I would not be okay with that.
That's fine, but I thought you were gonna go for the argument about it's a closed bun, right?
No, I don't care about. I mean, I don't think. I guess it's similar to the burger thing, but I think burger is less egregious. Whereas when I think of a sandwich, I would not think of hot dog at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair way of putting it. I always think of it like, I don't know, if we're gonna call like Heroes a sandwich, then we gotta call a hot dog a sandwich.
It's weird.
It's weird. So that's the story of the last sandwich we ate.
Mm-hmm.
Next question actually is going to get into some numbers.
Oh boy!
Please provide an SHL fantasy update for each of
I haven't
you.
looked in a while, and I'm sad immediately.
I just checked, and I'm garbage.
Yeah, it's not great.
I'm actually a little pissed off because if I was in like 4 or 5 different other groups, I'd be in 4th place right now.
Yeah.
But no. I didn't even get put in a competitive group. I mean, like, our top guy might not even be like top 3 in some of these other groups. I just happened to be put into a group that has a really even distribution, which fucking pisses me off. I could be raking in like 1 TPE that I don't update.
Yeah, that's which group are you in actually?
14.
I'm sure I've asked before, but which one?
14.
14? Yep, that's not bad. Not bad. I'm sitting in 5th in mine.
Yeah, I think I'm in 6th. I don't know.
1.5 behind the person ahead of me, and I started off real good. I was looking real strong early in the season. I was leading shots for in the league for quite a while, for probably like, I don't know, first week and a half, maybe 2 weeks even. And I was kind of like first, second range for my group. I don't know what happened, but I don't know. Just it's not going good anymore. I actually didn't pay attention this season, which is kind of refreshing. Because normally I would have been kind of obsessing over, I should have dropped somebody or something, and I probably should have, but didn't. This is actually the first time in, oh boy, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure I was in 2nd, and I'm in 5th, so it's not great. Big surprise. Izzy leading our group because he's got Roman Augustus.
Shock. Big old shock. Big shock, Izzy.
Like, I'd be interested to know like what percentage of people that got Roman Augustus win their group, and I'm willing to bet it's like.
Well, I bet you it's
real
high.
It's real high. That I think I talked to you about this off air at one point, but the trade for Augustus went down like 4 hours after I made my pick. A pick that I was contemplating taking him. I was so mad. God damn it. That's so annoying.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the leaderboard globally here, and I don't know if you're seeing this too. Maybe it's just me. But it doesn't look like there's anybody in 3rd place.
No, I don't see anybody there.
Which, I mean, Halsey, if you're listening, you need to fix that. There's nobody in 3rd place. 2 is McZ. 4 is Obsidian 311, who I don't know who that is. 3's just empty. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
Halsey, get your shit together. Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing terrible at fantasy. It's not going great. It hasn't gone great in seasons, so. But also, I'm like I don't update right now. I'm kind of just fucking taking all this podcast money, putting it in the bank for my next player.
Yeah, what's your team look like, actually?
Let's find out.
Oh, Cuddles, that's a bit of a surprise. I thought he'd...
I thought he'd be doing
like your
better
weakest
too.
link, yeah.
I took Cuddles because I thought that's a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah, it should be. So, well, if the problem is, though, with Edmonton, is they're so stacked. Who knows who's going to actually get the points? And there's probably people competing with him for hits at this point as well, just given how deep they are. Let's see, how's he doing on hits? 131, that's not bad. So he's actually doing okay for hits.
I fucking getting the Edmonton goaltenders was unbelievable for me, but
Yeah, that's
um,
yeah. I think Edmonton goaltending got taken in the third round in my group. So
I don't know why
nope.
nobody expected them to go. I don't know, man.
Where'd you get them?
I think I got them in like 4 or 5,
But like, how many people are taking goaltenders ahead of you? Is
like
it
2 or 3.
2 or 3? Okay, they should.
I
Like,
don't remember.
yeah, there's like no reason they shouldn't have been the first goaltender off the board.
Um, yeah, Cuddles. York paid off better than I thought he would.
My
Like,
worst performer
I'll
is
take
actually
200 points out of York.
Fletcher, which is weird.
Fletcher? Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. Fletcher, 16-14 for 30. 182.5 points. That ain't great. That's worse than I'd expect.
It's fine. The problem is every other, like all of my other players are kind of in that same point range. I've got, let's see, 182, 204, 205, 207, 212. So I don't have anybody who's like having a really good season. Just got a bunch of guys who are doing pretty good. It's not going to cut it. Not when there's, Roman Augustus is out there.
Yeah, well, yeah. Augustus is probably the highest scoring player right now.
Yeah, he definitely is.
As far as just pure fantasy points go.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know that anybody else is above 230, and he's at like 250, almost 260, I think.
It's pretty nutty.
There's a couple of guys over 230.
He's a game changer.
Yep.
And that happens. He's hot this year. We'll see what he's like next year.
It'll be interesting next year because things are going to be real different next year.
Things are going to be very different next year. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. We got that coming in the pipeline.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about fantasy while we're here?
No. I just want to express my sadness again.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I haven't been good at fantasy in seasons, but, next year's new year.
Mm-hmm.
So last question from Bonk. After listening to you fumble over Voltron, what were your favorite cartoons growing up? And we're gonna have very different answers.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a little bit of an age gap between the two of us here.
Yeah. God, I'm trying to think because my memory of cartoons doesn't really go back further than like 13 or 14, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. My memory doesn't go back further than 14, so.
The only things I remember like vividly, or not vividly, but that I remember well enough to recall were my grandparents would have these like VHS tapes of old old cartoons, like I don't know, some of them were black and white even, like things like Heckle and Jekyll.
Oh yeah.
That kind of stuff. I remember watching those quite a bit, because there just wasn't much else to do when we were staying with them. So that kind of stuff. I do remember a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah, like the classics. Yeah.
I don't remember like watching them, but I just have memories of them existing. Things like Captain Caveman and the one with the shark, Jabberjaw.
Yes.
So I remember those. What else? Yeah, I don't really remember a lot outside of like when I was like 94, 95 time frame ish, probably when I discovered things like Dragon Ball Z.
Hell yeah, baby.
I think a little bit later it would have been Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is like that was pretty huge too.
That show blew my mind when I was a kid.
Those are my two favorite shows when I was like in that probably like 13, 14, 15 age range. Those are the big ones for me.
NGE blew my mind, man. I mean, I got to it late, obviously. I don't even know if I was... When did fucking NGE originally premiere? Like 98, 99?
Don't even know. I'd have to look. I think it was earlier than that even.
Yeah, Google tells me 95.
Probably like 96.
I was not even... Google tells me 95. I was not even fucking born when NGE came out. But like I watched that like when I was 11 or 12, and my god, that's a really fucked up show to watch as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
But it blew my mind, man. That show blew my mind when I was a kid. Still blows my mind. Still can't really wrap my head around it.
It's weird. It's super weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to clearly we're gonna have some differences as far as I mean, here's a little thing you might not know about me, listeners. I'm sure I told Rich, but here's a little thing you might not know about me. I live in Philadelphia, but I wasn't always in Philadelphia. I grew up in Calgary. I grew up in Calgary, Alberta. Um, and so most of my memories of cartoons that I watched come from like thousands Canadian television, like YTV and fucking Teletoon and the Nickelodeon shows a little bit once I moved to the States, but like Totally Spies and, I mean, the big ones like Danny Phantom and fucking Rugrats and um, SpongeBob, but like Totally Spies. And there was a show I actually was talking to my roommates about it earlier this week called Martin Mystery. I don't know if you know that name.
No clue.
It was like that show like scared the shit out of me when I was like a little 8, 9 year old baby. But it's like it was a show about these kids who go to school in fucking where the hell? It's like Sherbrooke, Quebec, but they're also like they investigate. It was like a kids horror show.
Hmm.
It was like a kids horror show about these two kids and a literal like several thousand-year-old caveman exploring horror. And man, that show scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. But I went back and watched it with my roommates this weekend while we were drunk, and it was not that frightening.
Yeah, that's one of those weird
Um,
things. Trying to go back to those kinds of things, and the
yeah,
memory of it is just like so completely different.
it was
Of
like it's super schlocky, right? Like I mean,
yeah,
it's very clearly trying to ape like B movie shit.
Mhm.
Um, I think it still holds up, but it is not the show I remember it being. But like, yeah, all the Code Lyoko or like, fuck. Did you watch Reboot at all? Did you ever see Reboot?
Oh yeah, I remember Reboot. Oh
I
yeah,
fucking grew up on Reboot. That show. Now that show is scary.
yeah.
Not
It
because of
was
anything that happens in it, but my god,
the bad guys were like actually like relatively sinister. I thought
they were
compared to like
super sinister.
other things that were on that at the time,
That's
and
another
also it was
show
like
that
it
was
was very I don't know different.
it was different. That was another show that came out before I was born, but aired like several years after I was born. But that was like one of the first like fully CGI computer animated television series, and it looks like shit.
Yeah, I remember real specifically that their mouths
Oh
like
my
couldn't
god, their
move fast
mouths.
enough to
No.
so their mouths would sort of move along with the
It
words.
it it like going back and rewatching that show's frightening because they clearly had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
But like man, that tech did that even look good for the time it came out?
Maybe a little, but I mean, it was clearly on a relatively low budget.
Right? And then they rebooted that. Not to make the joke obviously, but they rebooted Reboot.
Really?
Yeah, it got a Netflix airing,
Hmm.
I think. But it was also live action.
Huh.
I haven't
That's
watched
weird.
that yet, but I will get very drunk and watch that show, and I'll report
Hmm.
back
Yeah, I'd
on
be
on
interested.
reboot. So yeah, I watched a lot of like. If you were a kid growing up in the thousands in Canada and you watched like YTV or Teletoon, that was the shit I grew up on. And then like some like Nickelodeon stuff would filter in across the border.
Hmm.
It was a wacky time. The thousands were crazy for cartoons. It was the Wild West of terrible animation.
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, watch NG. It's a great show. Thank you for the questions, Bonk.
Yeah. Yes. Much appreciated.
And then someone named Rich posts about bumping the thread.
It's garbage.
He's here.
Garbage.
He's here every week, and he never asks a question.
I don't know. What an asshole.
So then we got Argar. we got Argar. I was trying to hold it together and I couldn't get through it. And Argar, of course, asking the question that I'm sure is on everybody's mind. Talk about the expansion team branding. So let's do that. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I was actually trying to bring up the post because I don't remember. So was it in media? Is that where he put it?
Joe or Velv?
Joe.
I believe it's a media.
I thought so too. Where the heck is it though?
It might be graded already.
Could be. Oh no, there it is. It's all the way at the bottom. It's been a little while since I looked at it. Basically, since he posted it, looked at it that day, and then kind of haven't gone back to it since then. We already talked about Chicago a fair bit, I think, last week.
Yeah, we talked about it quite a bit. We can touch on it a little bit, but I'm more interested in talking about Joe's team.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, the New Orleans Spectres.
The New Orleans Spectres. I hassled him for like 3 days to get to change the spelling of Spectres, and he wouldn't. I love this branding. I really love this brand. When we got it originally, and I don't think I'll get fired for this. When we got it originally, it was like neon green instead of purple, which is fine, but it was... Oh, he mentions it. I wanted the purple to be a very bright green. It was... I think the green was a good idea, but it was a little too bright. I mean, like a muted green's fine, but we got a lot of muted greens. But this was like a real radioactive green, and it was just a bit too much. I think the bright purple works way better.
I'm just now noticing there's like two shades of purple in the big logo. Anyway.
Yes, yeah. I think that they totally killed it with this branding. Great color scheme. I think going the purple and black route is awesome. I'm a sucker for black home jerseys. I don't know about you. I think we've talked about that off air. I'm just maybe a huge sucker for like black jerseys.
Yeah, the ones he's got mocked up here are nice. I'm a fan.
They're super pretty. Yeah, I mean it just came out really well. Spectres, I think, is a good name.
The only complaint I have is the font used in the Spectres.
Really?
Not a big fan of that. I don't really dislike it that much. It just looks, I don't know.
It's different. Yeah. I feel like they were going for that. Like, if there's noise in the background, I think my roommates are playing Smash.
That's what I've been doing all day.
So, yeah, great game, Smash. I feel like they went for a New Orleans-y kind of vibe with the text. Like, it does kind of feel like Mardi Gras-ish. A little old-timey, a little... I don't know. It
reminds me of something you'd see on like a the panel above a saloon or something.
Yeah, it's saloony, right? That's exactly what I was going to say. It's very westerny.
Yeah.
I think it works. I think it, yeah, and I mean it's a little less noticeable as far as the jersey goes.
Yeah.
When you're looking at it blown up like that on the logo, it's a little more noticeable.
Yeah.
I just love the vibe. I think obviously New Orleans has got a pretty storied history with ghosts. It's one of those towns. I don't know if you've been to New Orleans before.
I have not actually.
It's one of those towns that's like, hey, come check out the haunted New Orleans. Come check out the haunted tour. Come check it out. Go talk about ghosts in the city. Talk about the ghosts. I love the incorporation of the fleur de lis. I think they worked that really, really well into the logo there.
Yeah, and I actually wouldn't have probably noticed it until I had seen it on the shoulder of the jerseys, and then looked and realized, oh, it's behind the Spectre head.
They did a really good job. I think it was, I don't know, it was Carey, I think, that did this logo, which isn't surprising. Carey's one of the best graphic guys we have on the site. And Carey killed it. The fleur de lis great. I think the Spectre head is fantastic. The whole thing really just turned out beautifully. It's probably my favorite of the two new brands.
Yeah, I think I like it a bit better than Chicago.
I know the complaint people have with Chicago is that the logo is just a bit busy. But I think that Carey totally killed it. This feels like a hockey logo. Like, this feels pretty natural to see on a hockey jersey. It's got good contour, good shape, places well. Just really, really fucking solid all the way around.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the jersey. I don't know. I don't know. Something's like, I don't know, not quite sitting right with me. Maybe it's because it's got the logo itself has the black background on the black
Yeah,
jersey,
maybe.
which is kind of bugging me a little bit.
It
But
works a bit better on the white.
yeah. Oh
Because
yeah, it
then you can
does.
actually see the outline of the fleur-de-lis.
Yeah, I like that a lot better on the white actually.
Where, yeah, you're right. On the black, it almost kind of looks like a heart with a spike coming out the top of it.
Yeah, kind of. It's I don't know. It's just like things get lost a little bit.
It's filled in. The logo isn't
Yeah.
necessarily as defined.
Hmm.
Either way,
Yeah,
killed
it's
it.
good.
Killed it all the way through.
No major complaints.
Big ups to Joe K and TDZ. Can we put to rest the whole debacle over whether or not the Seattle Spirits got denied for the New Orleans expansion team now?
Oh yeah, you mean because it's confirmed now, right?
Yeah, because we've confirmed it that this is explicitly what happened. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think great work from Joe K, TDZ, and Carey. Great work all around.
Yeah.
Be really interesting to see how they do next year. Because that's a powerhouse of a GM duo.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. That's the next really exciting thing that's coming up for me is the expansion draft. I'm really interested to see how it goes down. Really excited. Anyway, should we talk about Chicago a little bit more? Or
Yeah, I mean, we could touch a little bit on Chicago. We kind of talked quite a bit about it. I think that the biggest issue people have with Chicago, and the more I think about it, the biggest issue I have with Chicago is that the logo can just be a little bit busy. But I think that the color scheme is fantastic. I love the black and gold and silver. I think it works really, really well. And it's very visually distinct compared to everything else on the site.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a sucker for black jerseys, so those homes are awesome.
Yeah, those actually look really nice.
I think that the yellow, not quite sun, but I'm going to call it a yellow sun anyway, behind the mobster looks fantastic on the black. Looks pretty good on the white too. Honestly, those aways are good. The arms on the aways might be my only thing I don't like.
They get since there's so many stripes, I get like a bit of a bee vibe.
It's very Bumblebee, yeah.
Yeah.
It works a little better on the all black because you're not running white stripes, but on the white, I think you'd have been better off just going full white arms, honestly. Or maybe even just one stripe towards the middle of the forearm area. But either way, Chicago branding's good. We've been over that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like what they're doing with the numbers. I like what they're doing with the everything. It's damn good. Both teams had just really good branding. I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit more for picking such great teams. And yeah, big ups to Velevra and whoever Velevra takes as co. Because I don't believe that's happened yet.
No, I haven't heard anything. Could have missed it with the way I've been paying attention to these kinds of things, but I don't think it's happened.
It happens. Yeah, so
I think that should pretty well cover it, yeah?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. They're both great. Argar asks, favorite vacation spot and place you'd most like to visit for a vacation?
I mean, that's tough because favorite is like, to me, it'd be like a place that you've been multiple times, and I don't really typically when I take vacations go to, I guess that's not totally true. I guess I go to like some of the lakes in Minnesota occasionally. But I don't know. A couple of my favorite vacations were kind of similar, but not to the same locations. I had when I was still in the Air Force, there was me and a couple of guys that would on 4th of July we would go to. Well, it wasn't like a thing we did. It was just like just kind of worked out that way twice in a row. One year we went to, since we were living in Florida, although North Florida, so this was like an 8-hour drive. It was kind of silly, but we drove down to Orlando and went to like the whole, Disney, Universal stuff, all that thing, the amusement park stuff. Did the 4th of July thing there. which of course they do all kinds of big stuff.
Yeah, they go all out for that.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really good. And then the next year we did the same thing in California in LA for the Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're not yeah, it's pretty much just Disneyland over there. So that was cool. That was kind of fun. But outside of that, the only like kind of repeat vacations I've got are like going to the lake in Minnesota, or like Pelican Lake, or what's the other one? I can't remember. There's, I don't know, any one of like 11,000 lakes. Pick one.
There's a few, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple you could go to.
Oh yeah.
That's fun though. I like getting out to the lake.
Yeah. Most like to visit though? I'd like to go to New Zealand at some point.
Yo, yeah, do it.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
I went to Auckland once and it was fantastic. I'd go back in a heartbeat. Yeah, I'm also trying to think of places I go. I don't really repeat vacations.
Yeah.
I guess like if you count going to DC as a vacation, but that's fucking an hour from where I live.
Yeah. That's more like just going home, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my favorite vacation, or one of them, was one summer I went up to Maine and we rented a cabin in like the middle of the woods on a lake. And just spent a week, going out and fishing and kayaking, and went into town a little bit, saw some things in Maine. It was a great time. No cell service, and I say that not because I wanted to be on my phone all the time, but it's very difficult to stream music when you've got no cell service.
Yeah.
And you know me, I like music a little bit. It's an occasional thing I like to hear. But like once you got used to that, cabin was great. I mean, it was hot as shit. There was no AC in that cabin. But, great little fire pit, good little place to hang out, go out on the lake, have a fish, or just go kayaking for a bit. That was fun. I'm not really a nature guy, but that was one of my favorite experiences, period.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like sitting on a lake when it's like getting dark. Like,
oh man, there's nothing like it.
It's just real nice, it's enjoyable.
There's like a, not to sound weird, there's a real like romanticism to it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just I don't know.
It's there's nothing like it. And so I've decided that if I don't die before I can retire, I'll just retire to like a shitty cabin on the lake. Other than that, I mean, I went skiing for the first time this winter. That was cool. I'm really terrible at it, but
yeah.
I
used to do a little bit of skiing, but
I'd like to try snowboarding. I feel like I'd be a little bit better at that because my legs move in tandem when I do that instead of moving apart from one another. Which you'd think. I mean, come on, Adam, you walk every day, but a little different. Place I'd most like to visit for a vacation, Swiss Alps, I think would be awesome in the winter. Or fuck, I don't know. I'd like to do a tour of I'd like to do it like a couple weeks in Japan and just see all the big things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Even see all the big things and then just spend some time just kind of living there. Because I feel like vacations I feel like are dumb. And I don't like, it's nice to get away, but I don't know. Like sometimes I kind of just want to go immerse myself in it for a bit. I mean, like on a vacation, you're basically obligated to sightsee a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends. It's like person to person, right? Because when this is the issue I have with going on vacation with my family is that they're very much like, we got to do all these things, and I kind of just want to hang out and I'm going to see some stuff, but I'm not going to try and like fit as much in as possible every day and make it this. I just want to hang out.
Yeah, like I'd love to go like snowboard in the Swiss Alps and just hang out in that part of the world for a winter, but like I'd like to go like just rent an apartment in the summer in like Kyoto and just live there. Because I feel like that's way more interesting than going to do tourist stuff. And maybe it's because I've just always been more interested in what people do and how people are, and less interested in the history of a place.
I think it's probably part of the difference between like when you're on a vacation, you typically just don't have that much time, so you see the
Yeah,
things that
exactly.
are like that are going to have the biggest impact. Whereas if you've got a lot of time, you can kind of
You could just
see
be.
things differently.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to visit the Swiss Alps or like go spend like 3 months in Kyoto. Um, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I like that one. Argar
Yeah.
also asks. Currently, the top 100 is purely stats based, which differs from the original format, which had about 10 experts voting. Which do you think has produced more accurate results over the season, or is more likely to produce accurate results? Um,
That's really tough.
it's tough. I'll open the discussion with the fact that people are inherently biased and numbers are not.
Yeah, I think I will say also that I don't think I really noticed a difference. I mean, I'm sure there was a difference when the format was switched, but I guess I didn't know when the switch happened, so I didn't really notice. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know as far as which would produce more, which did produce more accurate results. I feel like when you're kind of like calculation, your algorithm is like fine tuned to the point where it's like really solid, you'll for sure get the most accurate results that way. I don't know where it's at right now. I know we've done some tweaking, so I'm sure it's more accurate than it was to begin with. But I don't know how. I don't know. It's tricky because you have to weigh things outside of just straight points.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're always going to be getting a better result if you do it based on the numbers. Just because you can't forge. I mean, you can forge stats, but like, we can't. Evoc could. We can't. We can't forge stats. Evoc can, but we can't. Um, where experts are not and 10 people are not, yeah, they're going to get the big decisions right pretty well
Yeah.
most of the time. But even the most unbiased people have an inherent bias, and the only way to really get around that is to just go straight to the numbers. I think you're right. I don't know that it produced more accurate results, or if either of them would produce more accurate results than the other. But I trust an algorithm more than I trust the people when it comes to making a list like this.
All right. At least then you have that consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
So whether it's right or wrong, and it's probably more likely to be right, but it's going to be at least be consistent season to season. And I guess that consistency allows you to see changes that need to be made and then make them.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think doing it the way it's being done now is the way to go. I don't think that the expert concept works as well as it could. I think what's going on now is the right way to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably the best option,
Yeah,
and I'm sure it simplifies the process a lot as well because you're not
absolutely.
waiting for people to get their results in, and you can kind of just compile all the numbers and you got your list.
Yep, and it's yeah, exactly. It's maybe like a few hours worth of work instead of a few days worth of work. Um, yeah, so I would say that I don't know if either of them are going to produce more accurate results over the other, but I think that doing it based on the numbers alone is the most accurate way of doing it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think it's good the way it is
Yeah.
currently. I've I guess
Anything else you want to add to that, or we can?
no, I don't think so. I was just rereading the question to see if I missed
Yeah, I've been doing that.
anything, but no.
Okay. Um, cool. Thanks for the questions, Argar. Very a
Yes,
lot of thought provoking from Argar this week.
it was kind of funny. I suppose you didn't listen to the his most recent
I got like
yet.
15 minutes into it.
Yeah, it is funny kind of listening to him a fight with the editor for NHL.
Yeah. Well, I heard it was. I heard it didn't go as well as it was supposed to say the
Yeah.
very least.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't gonna watch the video anyway, but it's just the whole situation is kind of funny. But it kind of sucks. That yeah, sounds like the video is probably not gonna happen. I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. I'm gonna finish it up probably later tonight while I'm doing things. But thanks, Argar, for the thought-provoking
yes,
questions.
yes, thank you.
And moving on to what
Oh
will
my
either
goodness.
be not thought-provoking or incredibly thought-provoking. ML has just linked 5 things and has asked us our thoughts on them. And of course, he's talking about the deadline trades.
Yeah, some of
So,
them aren't really that
nope,
deadliney.
they
I
aren't.
mean, maybe a little bit. I guess I thought one of these was.
I'm gonna open them all
I
up
guess
and
they
see
are
which ones they are.
within a few days. So that's not too bad.
Okay, so let's just fucking shooting gallery down the line. I'll read off the trades. You tell me which one you want to talk about.
I was opening them too because if you just read it, I will have no idea what's
It's fair.
happening.
Um,
So we're doing New Ham.
New Ham, Sammy Owens to New England, 1 million retained in exchange for Patrick Brum Jr., an S46 LA second, and an S47 New England second. That feels like a lot of value for Owens.
I don't know how active Brum is.
I don't think as active as he used to be.
And S46 is not the draft that's coming up, right? It's the draft after?
Nope, it's the draft.
Or is
that's
that the
coming
one
up.
that's coming
It's
up?
definitely the draft that's coming up.
Okay, so that second is pretty valuable.
Yep. Even the S47 second is pretty solidly valuable. Yeah, I would, for the sake of an argument, call that S46 second just a first, honestly, in any other season.
Yeah, it's close enough. This feels a bit like New England buying.
Oh, absolutely. This is New England loading up.
But I don't feel like that makes a lot of sense. I need to look at the because I don't actually even know honestly where they're at in the standings. I just feel like based on what I know of their roster strength, they're not a likely contender, even if they are in playoff position, which they may be. Oh, yeah,
Well,
they're in playoff position right now, but they're a point up on. Well, they're actually
Hamilton.
On Hamilton, and only 2 points ahead of Buffalo. And Buffalo definitely has a better roster. Like,
Yep, no,
it's not even close.
This doesn't make sense to me because not only does New England not need to make this move, but I know this was before the Sims where Hamilton's catching up. So I can understand Halsey 5 days ago saying, well, fuck, we're towards the bottom of the East. We're way out of a spot. Let's just start shipping people out and try and get some value to get younger.
Mm-hmm.
But now Hamilton is potentially going to steal 4th place. And I think Tyler would have been a fantastic ad to keep in the room had they known this was going to happen. You can't know it's going to happen, but
yeah,
had they known.
It's hard to even say if that just slight change in their roster might have sparked
that might have triggered it.
Yeah, because who knows with STHS, little things like that.
You're right though. Buffalo, I think of Hamilton, Buffalo, New England. That thing I did with Static yesterday, we just fucking yelled about gambling. And if I was gonna put money on a team, it would be on Buffalo. I think Buffalo is gonna steal 4th place.
The roster's too good to be outside of the playoffs.
I think so.
They have the only roster that's better than theirs in the East is West Kendall.
Yeah, that's about it.
You could maybe, I think, with some of the moves Toronto's made, you could argue they're. I still think Buffalo has a better roster than Toronto.
We'll talk about those moves.
Yeah.
This trade to me doesn't make sense for either team.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I understand they want to make the playoffs, but I feel like it doesn't have a lot of value. I'd much rather hang on to that second.
Yeah, to me this is like. To me, this feels like Hamilton won this trade by a margin.
I feel like Owens has got to be a little bit into regression at this point too, doesn't he?
I think Owens is a couple seasons younger than me, so close.
Is he? Okay.
Close to regression.
Okay, so he's not quite. I thought he was older than that. Okay.
To me, this is bad. This is a Hamilton win.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because Hamilton gave up basically nothing. They're in a position to make the playoffs without him anyway. and they've got a young kid in Brum Jr. They've got basically a first and then LA second, and they've got a second from New England. I don't understand how New England. I don't know how Hamilton did this.
I feel like Tyler for that second would have been a pretty even trade.
I feel like New England way overpaid for this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This trade literally makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, the intentions behind it make sense, but I don't like.
Yes.
Yeah,
but I don't think
New England's end, I don't feel like they got a good value.
Yeah, no, you're right. The intention works. I don't think the execution came out as good as they hoped it would.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. Hammond.
Yeah. God.
That's the name of today's episode. Hammond. Maybe we should start adding episode titles. I don't know.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Radically changing the podcast. So Hamilton, Minnesota. Hamilton receives Zivan Zedek, which is Sammy, and Kyer Yelkrab, who I don't know.
He is.
Go ahead.
What's his name? I feel like I know the user, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's where I am.
What? Huh?
I don't know the user either, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, I know I've seen the player name around. He's low activity or inactive. I don't know which.
But
could be totally wrong and just completely disrespecting this guy. I have no idea.
Maybe. But both of those in exchange for Swag, Dick Skillstead returning to Minnesota.
Yep.
Who Skillstead traded from Minnesota to Hamilton back to Minnesota.
Yep.
And judging by Sammy's response, he had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, well, it's a weird spot because he wanted to stick around in Minnesota. I understand. Yeah. But the issue is he was like, they got a lot of center depth, I guess. They got a lot of centers. He was like their fourth center, really.
Yeah, Minnesota's deep down the middle.
So yeah, I think that's mostly what it is. Just moving a guy they don't really have any space for. And I also think Hamilton, from my understanding, is they had tried to get Sammy in previous drafts.
Yes, they did
in trades and stuff. So they probably wanted him a little bit as well. So it's I think it's probably a pretty good deal for both teams. I don't think. Yeah, I think it's really basically just Sammy and
Sammy for Swag.
For Swag for the most part. The other guy's just a roster spot basically.
Yeah, this is way more of a sensible trade to me. Sammy's young. They get a roster filler. They get a stopgap. And Minnesota loads up with a good forward for a playoff run. This trade makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got to say on this one. This one makes sense. Yeah. This is a good trade.
Seems pretty good. Yep.
So next we have Toronto, Winnipeg. Toronto receives Pietra Volkova, the corpse of Pietra Volkova, and an S47 Winnipeg second in exchange for Vivian LeBlanc, who is, I believe, just a prospect. And the S47 Toronto first. This is a fucking big dick. We want to win a cup move from Toronto.
Yeah, I think as a result of that, they maybe paid a little more than they had to.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't think they needed to throw in LeBlanc. If you just did Volkova for that first, I think that would have been a fine deal.
Yeah, I still feel like it's like I hate rentals personally.
Rental is hard.
The value is always bad.
Yep.
And so it's just like, yeah. I don't know. I can't say a lot about it other than it's obvious Toronto's trying to win a cup. They need a little bit more forward depth, and they got it.
Just overpayment on Toronto's part, but this is very clearly them loading up and trying to swing their dick around. And Volkova's a great addition. Obviously she's done after this season, but good addition.
Yeah.
Good scoring. She's already made an impact on the team since she's been here. Good pickup from Toronto. Overpaid a little bit, but it's a rental. You're going to overpay.
Yeah. I think it's a realistic move by Toronto in that I would agree with them in thinking that their forwards are not good enough to win a cup.
Yes, I agree. This is a roster loader move.
So if they actually want to seriously try to contend, they have to add some forwards.
Yeah, I think this was a good move from Toronto. They overpaid, but you're going to overpay.
Yeah, it's kind of how it is. I wonder how. I don't know how. Well, I mean, I know Sanchez is active-ish. I don't know how active, but
Activish. This was yeah. It's a blue chip prospect.
so yeah, Winnipeg makes out really well, but Toronto gets what they want. So
Toronto gets a forward that should help them, and a second, which they could totally use in the draft. Wait a minute.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's in the other one.
We're going to Seator. And
Seator. Seatortle. That's what it makes me think of.
Good one.
Anyway. Okay. Sorry.
That's the name of the episode. Seatortle. Toronto receives Joseph Lombardi, who at this point, my God, I can't believe they finally traded him. With an extension, 1 year by $4 million. Seattle receives a second, and they retain $1 million salary on Lombardi. This is an even trade.
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
This is a pretty even trade.
Seattle's not going anywhere.
And Lombardi
adding a pick is just fine.
And Lombardi's a good hockey player.
He's alright.
I think he'll be a good middle six addition to Toronto.
Yeah,
I don't think this is a playoff move. I just think this is I don't understand why this move got made, I'll be completely honest. But
I think it's more value than anything, because it's pretty reasonable value, and you do add forward depth, so it's
and
not
an active member too. So in essentiality, but in a sense, that's not a fucking word, Adam.
No, it's fine. Fine.
Essentially, between this and the Winnipeg trade, you're looking at a first and LeBlanc for Volkova and Lombardi, which when you look at it that way, that's pretty solid value.
That helps out. That makes it look not quite so bad.
That's pretty solid value.
It's hard to say how much longer Blues will stick with this guy, because he's got to be getting up there in age.
I think he's a season, or he might be a season younger than me.
Is he? Man, I feel like these guys, I think they're older than they are.
It happens.
Which is crazy.
I think he's a season younger than me. He'll be hitting regression, I think, this offseason.
36, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it that way, a first and LeBlanc for Volkova's corpse and Lombardi maybe, I think that's a pretty solid deal from Toronto's end.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Could have been better, but that's not a bad give for what you got there.
No, and I think it definitely makes them a much stronger contender as well.
Absolutely. And then the last one to talk about, this is the big one, I guess.
This one I actually didn't really look at. I knew it happened, but I didn't.
This happened, so. So we've got Texas acquires a conditional Winnipeg S47 second. The conditional being the pick is exchanged if both Fantabens and Kazarian extend for more than a season. They get a Texas S48 second. What? Texas, they get their own second back, I guess.
That's tough.
Weird. Ace Redding, and an S46 fifth, which you can basically regard as a third or a fourth in this coming draft. Seattle gets David Fantabens and Kevin Kazarian. Seattle loading up on players. I think they should have held on to their picks.
Well, Kazarian at least is a real good, relatively young prospect.
Yeah.
I don't know who Fantabens is, though.
I don't either, but to me, this feels like this is Seattle. Come on. You gotta like develop your own guys. This feels like a weird pick to me.
Look at this again. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all right. I need to find this Fantabens guy, because I need to know who that is. I should probably know who that is, but I don't. Not an old player, for sure. I'm pretty sure it's a young guy, but there he is. S43. Where's the TP account? I don't see it. Why not?
If you just heard some strange noise that just happened there, not you, Rich, but because it's playing through my desktop, you may have heard it through the podcast. Yes, I did just pull up the Escape from LA surfing scene.
What?
Well, because Crutch has got that scene from Escape from LA in his
scene. Oh, right. Yeah.
That's a great movie.
I'm trying to find this guy's TP account, because that Fantabens it's not bad for S43. Is he still active though? Yeah, he's been online. So yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good trade for Seattle. Gets some two young guys. Redding is old as shit. He's got to be retiring, right?
Redding is
last season, right?
Yeah. As far
Okay.
as I think so. I don't know for sure, but Redding is a corpse, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, if he isn't retiring, he's just like, yeah, he's only like 800 TPE at this point.
Yeah.
There's not much left there. Yeah, I think this is pretty good for Seattle, and I think this is a move for Texas to try to maybe add a little bit of forward depth for a playoff run here. Maybe.
Maybe.
Are they in position?
Maybe Redding could be a middle six guy.
Oh yeah, they're in the play. They're going to be in the playoffs most likely. So yeah, it seems fine.
Yeah, this feels like a totally fine trade.
That fifth feels a little. I mean, I guess in this draft, maybe that fifth has some value, but
Yeah, like I said, you can maybe think of it like a late third, early fourth in any
Yeah.
other draft. It's got a little value.
it's still
We'll
going to
see.
be. It's still going to be tough to find an active there. I think. Maybe.
Oh, that pick's a long shot, absolutely.
Winnipeg. It's West Kendall, so that's going to be a pretty late fifth as well. Huh. Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so I hope that answers those questions, ML. Those are our thoughts on the deadline trades.
Yay.
I had a few thoughts about them. They were all right. Um,
Oh, look at JSS.
I
What a
made
guy.
I made JSS angry.
Yeah, I noticed this. I thought you might have like reached out and asked for questions or something somewhere.
No,
I saw
JSS
posted questions, but then I read the thing. I was like, oh, huh.
So JSS actually tagged me in the fucking GM Discord and said, "When's the next podcast?" And I told him tonight. If you got questions, get them in now. But then he tried insulting me in French, and he's not. I mean, so if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you'll see him attempting to call me very bad things in French and misspelling them terribly. And yeah, so Waters and I bullied him for a little bit, and then he got mad.
Nice.
So these questions are not only for Rich, but Adam is a loser. So half of that statement's correct.
Okay. I actually didn't even read the questions, so
That's fine.
I had no idea if that was accurate.
I asked him, "Do you really want Rich to answer these alone? Because I'll commit to that. I will gladly commit to that for a bit." Biggest loser of the deadline. Nobody.
It's tough to say. Yeah, I think everybody got what they wanted. If we're talking just purely from a value standpoint, I wouldn't say maybe Toronto, but even then,
they got what they wanted.
Yeah,
and
they
it
got
was
what they
not
wanted.
Terrible overpayment.
No, with I think the Lombardi trade kind of redeemed it a bit.
Absolutely. You could argue maybe New England.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see, they did. Oh, they only did the one.
There was that
yeah,
one trade.
because that one,
big.
yeah. I'm not a fan of that either. So yeah, I would say New England more than probably anybody else. Yeah.
Biggest winner of the deadline.
Seattle maybe.
Seattle probably.
I like that Texas trade a lot actually.
Seattle gets some build for the future. I think I think Seattle makes out pretty solidly here.
Yeah, yeah. Those two relatively young active guys is a nice get, I think.
Absolutely.
They don't look like major earners, but they look like they'll be, probably in that thousand range when they start to regress. Probably.
They got grit. They got grit.
Yeah,
speaking
sure.
of, thoughts on Seattle's current outlook after the Texas and Toronto trades?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're still obviously rebuilding.
Yeah.
But
Nothing
this
you can
gives
do
them a
about
little more towards that.
Yeah, I think this makes Seattle's future brighter.
Yeah.
Um,
And maybe since they did get players rather than picks out of the Texas deal, I think accelerates a little bit. There's still a little ways to go, but it's it's not like they're going to be waiting for a million draft picks. So they're going to have a few guys that are going to mature a little bit earlier than these draft picks will. So
yeah, absolutely. Hot takes for who makes the playoffs and who doesn't. I already said it. Buffalo's going to steal that fourth place spot.
yeah, I feel like New England's probably going to fall off. I mean, that -20 goal differential is tough. I feel like you can't make the playoffs with that. Like, it's just, yeah. I feel like you're getting lucky with results if you're a -20 and you're in a playoff position.
That's a lukewarm take.
Yeah, Buffalo's roster is too good. I feel like they make it.
Let me check something. You talk. I'm going to check something.
Let's see. I
I
want
got
to
to make
see.
a hot take tonight.
God, there's not really a lot else to say because I feel like the West doesn't really move a whole lot. I want to see LA make the playoffs because I feel like they're as good as Winnipeg or Calgary. Maybe I don't know about better, but they're at least as good. I don't know why they're having issues this season when usually their strength is their goals against and defense, and that's just not the case this season. They're actually one of the worst teams for goals against, which is a bit surprising, even worse than us in San Francisco. So rip.
Okay. Here's your hot take. Here's your like fucking steaming hot boiling take. You ready?
Yes, I'm so ready.
Manhattan's gonna steal that 4th place spot. They're only 4 points out.
Yeah, that goal differential is so bad.
It's bad, but he asked for hot takes. So there's your hot take.
Yeah, but it's not total bullshit though either. Come on.
Okay, fine. You want me to say San Francisco wins the fucking West then?
That's nonsense. That's not gonna happen. We're awful.
Okay, but it's a hot take.
All right.
No,
Fine.
there's your hot take.
Jeez.
Manhattan steals the 4th place spot and shocks the world by keeping Buffalo, Hamilton, and New England out of the playoffs. There's your hot take. And
That'd be
now that
pretty
I've
funny.
said it, Manhattan's going to lose every game for the next 9 games. Because I'm a curse. I'm a big old curse. But there's your hot take. Manhattan's going to shock the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be back in the playoffs for the first time since like S30s. Early S30s. I don't remember the last time Manhattan even got to the playoffs.
I guess it's gotta be like 36.
Yeah,
maybe?
it had to have been.
Somewhere in that area.
It was like 30.
They were mid 30s. Is I think 35 is when they won the cup after they
Yes, it was.
had the McZ implosion.
Yeah.
But I don't know when they've been back since. Anyway.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your hot take. Which double IHF nation do you... This one, I think he's aiming more at you, but I'm going to answer maybe. I haven't
Well, I
decided
mean, you're not
yet.
that far off either.
No,
really.
I'm like 4 or 5 seasons out.
Yeah.
So which double IHF nation do you plan on recreating for, Rich?
It's going to be USA.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about that on air before.
I don't think we have on air.
We've definitely talked about it off air.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He's gonna be American. He's gonna be from Minnesota. Probably from. I haven't for sure decided the city he's gonna be from, but probably from East Grand Forks, Minnesota.
Wow,
Which is
you're going deep with this.
Yeah. So, I'm from Grand Forks, which is in North Dakota, and across the river is East Grand Forks. And so I just figured I wanted him in Minnesota, and I couldn't really think of a good spot to put him. My first thought is usually Warroad, Minnesota. Because they've got a good. I'm not sure what kind of team it is. I think it's the Warroad Warriors. But TJ Oshie played for them, and a couple other pretty good players have played for them. So that's my first thought. But I think actually I saw Wally made his player from there. Actually, I'm not sure if it was. Maybe it was the last one, the one that the in between one, the one that was going to be a juniors only guy that was from there.
Right.
But that made me think, oh, I'll pick somewhere else. And so then I decided I was going to probably do East Grand Forks. But that's kind of not. It's up in the air. But Minnesota is pretty much a lock. He's going to be from Minnesota. Yeah. What about you?
Great question. I don't know. Yeah, my recreate's from fucking Lyon, France. So, he could go anywhere, and I don't want to tie him down to anything. I want to hear some pitches. I want people in fucking Worlds to tell me why I should be on their team. Which probably sounds dickish, but I want people to sell me because I would like to go somewhere I feel like I'm gonna make an impact soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know yet. So yeah, he's from France, so he could go anywhere. Have you thought of a name for your recreate yet, Richard?
I'm still struggling with it. So I don't. Yeah, JSS is over on GOMHL, so he'd know my last player there was Bobby Lane, and so I was thinking
great hockey name.
Probably it's a really solid name. So I might just use that name over here as well. But I've kind of been second having second thoughts about that as well. There's another name that I was thinking about using as well. It's a kind of a spin-off of a guy that I used to work with when I was in the Air Force. And I was thinking of maybe using Charlie Chambers as well.
Also a great name. Great, like good American
Yeah,
heartland kind of name.
yeah, I like them both, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still kind of thinking as well. This is always like the worst part of creating a character for me is a name because it's I don't know. I'm
Names are
never
hard.
happy with it.
Names are hard.
Yeah, so I think you've already got one picked out though, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, my GM when I was working in Vancouver was Bastien Marchessault. And so my next prospect is his son, Etienne Marchessault. Which is just the fucking French version of Steven. So, um, I have like shit actually written for him as far as backstory goes. But yeah, Etienne Marchessault. That's my next guy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't have any backstory written. It's more like I kind of he's going to be basically where I'm from, so he's going to be. I know the people. I know
Yeah.
kind of like an idea of what he'll be like. So it's.
I guess yeah, that's fair. I'm kind of cheating. He's from Lyon, but he fucking plays junior hockey where I grew up in Calgary. So
yeah,
it's so same thing. I just kind of know the place.
Yeah, so it's easy to kind of like know who they are kind of in your head without having to really like have it defined on paper what what kind of traits or things like that.
It's intrinsic.
Yeah. So then last question actually is for me.
Yes.
Do you think Lundberg is for Hall of Fame is a possibility? I think it's outside possibility. It's really hard to say. I think it's going to come down to who else is kind of in the on the ballot. Yeah, it's tough. I think I'm top 40 for points right now, which is not great, but it's good enough, I think.
Well,
and then my
the
expectations
hits,
to finish in probably second all time in hits, most likely. But that'll also make put me at like the most hits when you combine regular season and playoffs. I'll have the most in a career there.
And it's hard to deny numbers like that.
Yeah, but it's hits, and it's like I don't know. I've never really won an award. I've had 3 Jeff Dar nominations. I think I probably should have had 5 nominations, and I also think I should have won once, but that's kind of a separate thing. But I don't really have any individual accolades. I've got one, I think, like 3rd team All Star selection, and then also the All Rookie team. But as a rookie, my player was like also after 4 seasons in the juniors, so not really that much of a rookie. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's going to be really, I think, dependent on who else is on the ballot. Yeah, but maybe
I don't know if Lundberg is a first ballot.
No, I would. That would be no. There's no way.
but Lundberg is definitely to me a 3rd, 4th, 5th ballot.
There's potential. I don't know. I don't want to. A thing is like I don't want to get my expectations up because I just feel like I'll be disappointed. And I know that he's fringe, so I'm just trying to keep it realistic, But it'd be nice. We'll see. So yeah, there you go. Is that little thing below that? Is that part of the thing? Is that?
I think so.
Is he asking us to do that? Because I don't want to do that.
I don't either. That's a lot of fucking work.
He stepped down in like 30, didn't he? S30 or something like that. I don't think he was GM when. He's been gone quite a while from GMing, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to take a look at the history at least so we can find out when that officially happened. GM history.
Well, he's
this going to be accurate?
I'd like to take time today to thank today's sponsor, Blue Apron.
Oh, God. So, anyway, Gob's last season GMing was S30.
That's quite a lot of picks to look at.
That's a lot of picks. I mean, I know Sammy's had issues with the picks that he made. Outside of that, I'm not really honestly sure. Oh, this list isn't accurate anyway. Who the heck is? I don't know. Anyway, Yeah, I have no idea who FDZ had when he made his picks.
There were
I
some
didn't
good
even
picks.
remember.
There were some bad picks.
Yeah. This list isn't up to date, so I'm not even sure who the other GMs were. I mean, we've got to be well over an hour at this point, right?
Absolutely. Hold
Or am
on.
I crazy?
Yeah, an hour and 15.
Okay, cool. Let's see if I can find this really quick. Team history, maybe? Come on, Seattle. What's your shit? Oh, come on. I don't know. Draft history. We could look at draft history. See if that's up to date. It is. Okay, so this is actually not as difficult as I thought. Problem is, yeah, it looks like they've traded a lot of these guys away. So there would have been 14 teams, right? Because they didn't. Yeah. So S31, Trevor Wilson, good pick. But
Great
he
pick.
ended up.
West Kendall kid now, though.
Yeah, did he get traded or did he leave in free agency? I think he got traded.
He got traded.
Yeah. S32, then you got Corey Naus.
Great pick.
Yeah, and then Matthew Rossi as well, who I have no idea who that is. But Naus got traded as well. I think that was the same time when we kind of all, there was a bit of an exodus from Seattle, and I'm not even sure why, because my leaving had nothing to do with their leaving, but I left at the same time they did.
Was that Clardy still?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, that's the weird thing, is at the time we had probably the best roster in the league. This was S36 and 37. In S37, we won the team's only President's Trophy in the team's history. That team was really good. So yeah, and I think that season after that, or the off season between 37 38 is when it happened. I don't remember which. But anyway, then S33 they had Kalen Feargal, who was Sorator, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Sorator. I think traded to San Francisco.
Eventually, yeah, he moved around a bit. Would have been a really good pick, but he did go inactive at like maybe 850, 900 TP, somewhere in that range. But he was like super active. He was the updater head for a while.
He was when I came into the league.
Yeah. He was. I would say that's a good pick, but just didn't really work out.
Yeah, you can't blame Seattle for that one. It just didn't pan out.
Yeah. S34 Roddy Hawkins. I don't remember who that is. I feel like that's an old user, like one of the old timers. But I don't remember the username. But I don't think his player did a whole lot. S35 Louis Garrett.
Great pick. Traded to Texas.
Yep. Traded again. Yep. Traded for rebuild. No first in S36. No first in S37 or 38. Those were the Clardy trades.
Yep.
To get rid of all those firsts. RIP. No first in 39. Good lord. But they had a shitload of picks in that draft. S40, they had NCO Kalju.
Who I believe was that Rutu?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. He ends up in LA. And then Blaine McElroy. Or McElroy, or I don't know how you say that. Anyway, I don't know who that is either. I don't know the user.
Too young to make an impact, so.
Yeah. S41, Benjamin Blue, goalie, I believe.
And I believe he's still there.
Yeah. And then 42, Herb Roberts, which is Rice. And then
New England.
Oh, that's right. And then also the 14th pick, which is the last pick of the first round, Scotty Croftling, which is K Marco.
Yes. Is he still around?
I know he was like kind of low activity. He was going to be like a kind of a low activity type guy. I don't know if he is still doing that. The name is, I don't know, the what do you call it? He's a Chicago fan, so that's where the name comes from.
Yeah.
Where'd he go? Let's see if he's in here. I don't see him. I wonder if he got traded or something. He's not in their prospects list. He probably got traded. Anyway, what else do we got? There's one more then. S43. No, those are second round picks. No first rounds after that. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of guys got traded away. So yeah.
Seattle's got a history. They're like the Oilers. They're like the Oilers. I say that as a very fucking begrudging Oilers fan.
Yeah, I'm not sure why a lot of these guys didn't stick. But I guess Herb Roberts probably makes the most sense in terms of like guys that got traded, just because they weren't going to do anything. Yeah, I don't know. Tough stuff.
Yeah, I would bet you a lot of it has to do with management, but just disputes. Seattle's got a history of controversial management.
Yeah, they'll be all right though. I think JSS will.
Yeah, so
I mean, not that
he's good for the future.
I'm saying this because he asked the questions or anything, but I think he'll be all right.
I mean, he hates me, so I can say whatever I want, but I do think he's good for the future.
All right.
I think he'll be good for the future of that team. So thanks.
I told him this.
Oh, go ahead.
I told him this before, but I was a fan of the moves that he made when he kind of first stepped in there. So
yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah.
Shout out to Danka for that question. It's a great question. It was great.
Somewhat interesting. Somewhat
worth looking at. Interesting patterns. Either traded away or non-existent first rounders.
Yep. Well, I mean, traded away basically.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Clardy. Shout out to Clardy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Thanks.
Classic.
Thanks, JSS, for those questions.
Yes, thank you very much.
And I believe that's all we've got this week, unless you got something else you want to add before we cut the air.
Not really. I think if we need to... There was something... Oh, I was going to talk about some stuff that Slappy and Bonk had talked about when they had Avocale on. Avocale? I don't know. But it's not... It's like a build attribute stuff, so it's not... Okay. It's like filler stuff, so for a short 1 week, we can talk about that.
I'm always down to talk about the sim.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm always down to complain about the sim.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay then. So I guess we'll call it there.
Yeah.
As always, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We love you. I'm Adam, and this is Rich.
Hey.
And we'll see you next week for 28.